morning, Rodney. Dude, this journey is crazy, man. It is. It's definitely a fucking ride, I'll tell you that much. This is my journal, so I'm just gonna go there. I caught feelings for somebody hard. I did. Somebody that, was unorthodox. Didn't feel like there was no way, right? So, it may have abruptly ended. I don't know. But that doesn't mean I have to not be a friend. It just means I have to understand that this is part of my journey, part of their journey, and part of the way things go. And I don't have to get loaded over it. I don't have to be upset about it. I don't have to be angry about it. I get to choose how I feel today about anything. I get to choose. And if I'm angry, or if I'm upset, or if I'm hurt, I'm choosing to feel that way. This is, whether it's the bills, or it's people, or it's places, or it's things, I get to choose when I'm in that situation how I'm gonna feel. And a lot of the times I feel like I don't get to choose that because of the circumstance. But circumstance doesn't dictate what we get to choose. What I get to choose is, what am I gonna do with it, and what did I learn from it? What did I learn from it? And it's fresh. And there was a lot of feelings last night that I didn't want to feel. Some of them were again. But the bottom line is, whenever I'm put in a situation where I feel that uncomfortable, I can either worry or I can have faith. Faith is something else, man, I'll tell you. I'm never going to get to see it unfold until I look back. I don't get to say, okay, if I have faith, show me a little video of what it's going to look like. And if I worry, show me a video of what it's going to look like. And then I get to choose from there. That's not how that works, man. The way it works is you have faith, trusting that something greater than yourself is going to take care of you. And hopefully help others. And that's all I can do. Or I can just worry and start really going down a dark path in my head, thinking, okay, now this is happening, and now this is happening, and now this is happening. Because it's real easy for me to now be impeccable with my word and do my best. But how do I not take things personally, and how do I not assume anything? Well, that's the tricky part. I want to live by those 4, but do I ever get to live by those 4 all the time? Sometimes, usually when things are going good. But when things aren't going my way, one of them motherfucking things are going to get fucked up. And I get to choose at that point how I'm going to handle it. And I'm choosing right now how to handle it, which is vent. Vent on my platform. Not have hate. Not feel like this was about me. Not feel like, the world revolves around me. Have a little compassion, understanding, but protect myself. And know that, people will hurt me, they'll hurt you indirectly, inadvertently. And sometimes directly. And sometimes what seems like they're saying something directly, they're just going through their thing. And it's like when we're backed up against a wall, and so now we're just throwing swings, nothing controlled. Because we don't want to have to deal with it right then and there. So we throw like a fucking haymaker, and then we look back, or we feel bad, or maybe we don't. So then I feel bad, like, why did I say that? Well, I know exactly why I said it. I was reaching for anything I possibly could because I felt backed against a corner. And that's called being human. And I'm gonna be human my whole life. I'm gonna make decisions that are good and bad, and a lot of the times bad my whole life, my first thought is always going to be my wrong thought. Because I've as somebody once told me, once you flip that switch, there's no turning it off. And even if you turn it off, you're always going to have, it's always going to come back on. I made that decision years ago when I was a child, basically, when I was a kid. And it was one bad decision after the next bad decision that led me into my 40s. And now I get to start from a place here where I can say, all right, did you choose to love people or only when it's convenient? Did you choose to accept things or only when it's okay? Or did you choose to work through this knowing that you're still learning how to do this, but you can control your reactions and you can control what you say? And it starts with controlling your thoughts. I had somebody, I was in a class, in treatment, and we were all like struggling. First, what he did is he had us think of some terrible shit that we've gone through. We all shared some bad experiences. And then he said, remember that first car you bought? And everybody thought about their first car. Mine was a 98 Pontiac Grand Am. My dad, I love him for this. I'll always love him for this. My dad said, you ready for your first car? And I was like, hell yeah, let's go get my first car. And he said, bring your check with you. I said, Dad, my check's $400. He said, that's enough, that'll work. And I'm like, what the fuck? I go with $400, working at Kmart 4 hours a week. That's what they gave me, because I wasn't that, I wasn't the guy pushing to be great at Kmart. I wasn't even being the best cart pusher that I possibly could, but that $400 check got me a 98 Pontiac Grand Am that somebody went through the green and somebody went through the red and smashed into the side of the car, driver's side of the car, and the door wouldn't latch correctly and it had a huge dent, but it ran. And the only thing that held that door closed was the seatbelt. And back then the seatbelts retracted up when you shut the door. And as long as the little pin on the inside of the door from the front of the car pushed in, that seatbelt retracted. So instead of holding the door, closed as I made my turns, I had the seatbelt bolted up, so the seatbelt held it together. I wasn't, I was, what, 18, 17? I wasn't thinking about safety. I was thinking about a set of wheels, get me back and forth. That car, ultimately, was the car that got my sisters and my brother to school. And I ended up having to get them to school. That was the car I used to take them to school until I bought a 1969 Bug or Beetle or whatever the fuck it was for another $500. But what I'm saying is, I'm ranting. I went on this tangent. See, because I'm right here, I'm fucked up in the head. I'm trying my best to just vent out my feelings on the real matter, which is, I don't want to feel like I felt. It was really familiar. And I want to show grace, love, and kindness, and, all of that stuff that I'm learning. And I got to remember that this is a situation called growing pains. That's where the real growth happens, through pain. And usually it's mental. This morning it was physical and mental. Fuck, man, I had all kinds of shit in my head, and then I went out and took the advice of somebody at the gym, and holy fucking shit, man. But it's okay. Here's what I want. Every single person I come across that enters into my life, or I enter into their life, if I was kind, if I was giving, and I was loving, and I gave that my all, then I did my part. And through that, there's going to be times that, maybe it was too much for somebody. And that's okay too. Was I wrong? No. It's never wrong to give too much love. It's only wrong to step over boundaries. And maybe I stepped over a couple more than once. So this is a good opportunity to reflect, look at it as some of my inventory, and be available if this person decides that they still want me in their life, but also have my boundaries in terms of, my boundaries. So I needed to get that out. I don't feel better, but I know I will, because, listening to whatever music and then keeping it in here and then going about my day, it's just brewing like a kettle, and eventually it's going to blow. So if I don't just release that steam or let the top go, cook it while it's cooking, keep the top open so it doesn't blow, because it's going to cook no matter what, then I'll be okay, and then maybe if that person does reach, I can show them that they're needed, wanted, and loved, and that the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous in my arms are open for them, and that they have a friend. Always. This person never did me no wrong, and they have not done me any wrong at all. If I don't get my way, or things don't go the way I want them to go, then that triangle of obsession, the self-centeredness is in the middle, and it's surrounded by anger, fear, and resentment, and that's what keeps that self-centeredness spinning. If I could keep that calm by battling my anger with acceptance, my resentment with acceptance, and my fear with faith, then that center can be surrounded with gratitude, and the only way that it stays calm is with service. Now this is for me. So if I want to live a life where I feel like I'm doing my part for myself and for others, I have to live a life of service. But I can't help somebody if I'm in anger mode or resentment mode, or if I'm in fear mode. So I know what I need to do to battle that. As a great manager of mine, a mentor, a friend says all the time, it's not a knowing thing, it's a doing thing. I don't have to just learn from people in recovery. I can learn from people who care about me and know what the fuck they're talking about. I don't like to look at people as normies. I like to look at people as, these are people that are not like me, and these are people that are like me, and I get to love all of them. And the ones that don't like me, I have to love them even more. But I don't have to need their acceptance, and I don't need their validation. I may want it at times, but I don't need it. And the more and more I realize I don't need the validation of everybody, and the more and more I realize that the only validation I truly need is my higher powers. And if I just trust in my higher power, everything will work out. Everything seems to be calm. Because I could easily just hold it in, go into work, and somebody pop off their mouth, and all of a sudden I am a fucking, sorry, Mom. I know you don't like the cuss words. So, take a deep breath. It's okay. Be available when people need you. Love them. Be kind. Stay clean. And help people by showing them, by your living amends. And don't forget, you used to fuck up all the time. Holy fuck, you fucked up all the time. So it's not like you're this being of fucking, but you can be a beacon of light and a beacon of hope. You can show people that, man, I got 6 months and 14 days and I got it one day at a time. And we all start with one day. And it may not seem a lot to some people, but to a lot of people, to the people that I walk into the rooms, people with 20 years clean, 10 years clean, they know that that's a lot of time for somebody who just could not stop using. I mean, that's what it comes down to. There was a time I couldn't get 7 days. I could get 6, but I couldn't get 7. And here I am with 6 months and 2 weeks. I love the 2 week thing. Sitting there yelling at myself, you can't even get fucking 2 weeks. Here I'm sitting with half a year and 2 weeks. Half a year ago and 2 weeks ago, I told myself I couldn't even get fucking 2 weeks. Period. I looked at myself in this mirror and said, you can't even get 2 weeks. Now I got 6 months and 2 weeks. Going on 6 months and 2 weeks in a day. But really all I have is today. That's really all I have is today. Yesterday don't fucking matter. Last week don't fucking matter. 3 months ago don't matter. Yes, they built up. They don't fucking matter. All that matters is what I'm doing right now and what I'm doing the rest of the day. And as long as I can stack up hours and minutes and seconds, not getting loaded and being the best me I possibly can, being of service to others, being of service to the job that I work at, being of service to my kids, being of service if somebody reaches out and says, hey, being of service if somebody reaches out and says, I need help. That's the essence of recovery. Here's the essence of recovery. If I had to sum it up in one story, I'm at my sponsor's 24th or 25th year anniversary, and I got loaded over the weekend. And contrary to popular belief, I wasn't high in that meeting, but I got loaded over the weekend. I was already in guilt and shame mode, hating myself. Long ass fucking day, hating myself. And I could not make that. So I sat in the back corner of the room, and somebody sat next to me, gave me a hug, towered over me. You know, anonymity is the spiritual blah, blah, blah. Towered over me and didn't say a word. And when I kept looking at the bathroom, like, I'm just going to say I need to use the bathroom and leave, I stayed the whole meeting. And then when I stood up, they gave me another hug and said, I hope you're doing okay. Knowing I wasn't. And that's it. That's the essence of this shit. Because of that, I want to be that for somebody else one day. Because if I'm just left by myself in that shit, all I want to do is die. And now, all I want to do is help. The biggest act of courage we can do for ourselves is help ourselves, and in that, helping others. It's saying, stop. And then it's looking up and saying, I don't know who you are, what you are, or where you are. I don't know if you even exist, but I need help. Please help. And saying that until help comes along. You don't have to believe in an omnipotent being to get clean, to stay clean. You just have to trust that the world, that you are not your own higher power, and that there's something out there, nature, trees, the animals, whatever it is, that if you just ask for help, it will. Don't know how it works. Don't need to know how it works. I don't need a book telling, well, there is a book, but I don't need any of that. Neither do you. You just decide for the first time in your life, for some of you, that I can't do it alone. And then maybe a group of people or a person or whatever comes along when you least expected it, and they were provided. And I'm not saying me to this particular person, I'm saying that in general, My higher power works to me through people, places, and things. The same thing that I needed to avoid so I wouldn't get loaded. My higher power now provides me people, places, and things. And they come into my life. And then I look back like, holy shit. That was sent to me. To help me. Not to hurt me. To help me grow. To help me go through all the bullshit that I'm going through or have gone through. So, I'm here. If you're needed, wanted, and loved. I love you. And if you don't know me and you don't believe it, come find me. I'll show you. And guess what? If you woke up today and you're breathing, no matter what's going on in your life, you were given another 24 hours. What are you going to do with it? You get to choose all day what you want to do, how you want to feel. You get to choose that. Nobody chooses it for you unless you're in jail or in a hospital or in an institution. It's going to be okay, even if it's not okay. Because nothing stays the same if we unless we continue to do the same things over and over again. And to that special person who maybe made it to 21 minutes, you did nothing wrong to me. This isn't about me. But it took me madness to figure out that. And I'm here if you need me. Bye.